Hi everybody. Thank you to all our educators today who got visited today. Thank you for your work in dealing with the department officers. A lot of things came up today in terms of non-compliances and issues that the department officers raised. So we want all of the educators, those who were visited and those who were not visited, to be aware of what kinds of issues and non-compliances came up today, so that if you have been visited, you know what action you need to take to rectify those non-compliances. If you have not been visited, then um, you know how to prepare for a visit in case the department visit you tomorrow or another day. The most common thing that came up was national laws and regulations and accessing these. So all of you should be able to access the national law and regulations. Your books are one way of accessing them, the physical books. Another way is electronically. If you we send everyone an email with the national law and regulations with the links. So if you go to that email and click on those links, you can access the most up-to-date national laws and regulations. If you're having trouble with that, we want you to contact us immediately so that we can assist you with that. Another way to access the national laws and regulations is the way I'm showing you now. Just go on Google on your phone, type in national laws and regulations, click on the first link that comes up, and that can take you to the national law and regulations. And most importantly is the national regulations. You click on these links, and then there you go. That's the latest national regulations. Policies and procedures book. You have a physical book, but that gets updated. The most up-to-date one is currently on Hub Hello. So to access that, I'll show you what you can do. You can go to Hub Hello. Um, you can you can log in. So I'm going to log into my thing. Then you go up here to the heart, click on the heart, click on locker, click on vault, and the latest policy and procedures is at the top there. Final policies procedures manual 2024. Child protection. So all the educators who were visited today were asked about child protection scenarios. For example, what would you do if you noticed a child being abused or being neglected or having dirty clothing, etc., etc. All of our educators gave very good answers, and we expect all the educators who are not visited to give similar answers. So the answer is you will observe what's happening with the child, you will document what you're observing, you will monitor, you might ask the child if the child is old enough to speak, and then finally, if you reasonably believe that a child is at risk of significant harm, you make a report to 132 111. It doesn't matter whether the office, which is us, tells you not to make a report. You have to make a report if you reasonably believe that a child is at risk of significant harm. Thank you to the educators who answered that question today. And please, if you were not visited today, make sure you're prepared to answer child protection questions. Documents. So every educator who is visited, all their documents are checked thoroughly. Okay, every single document on the wall, in the folders, etc., etc. The most common documents which are checked are your child enrollment forms, your first aid, your CPR qualifications, any asthma or allergy documents, all your risk assessments and parent permissions for school runs and excursions, and also for pets and play equipment and sleep risk assessments, and also all the working with children checks. If you have not been visited yet, you might want to go back and check all your documents and let us know if you find anything irregular. Um, Attendance records. As soon as the officers come to your service, they will go to your Hub Hello and your timesheet book. They will check the last 2 weeks of children attendances in your service. They might even ask you questions about children's attendances in the previous week. One of our educators today who was visited was questioned thoroughly for each day that the children attended in the previous week, which was a bit strange. But make sure that all the children who are in your service are signed in, and make sure any children who are not attending your service on the day are not signed in. They can be marked absent. Um, if you're signing in children yourself, you need to use your own PIN. Do not use a parent's PIN to sign children in or sign them out. Parent PIN can only be used by the parent. Emergency bags. So today, everybody's emergency bags were checked. Make sure there's no expired items or food. Check the ingredients in case children have allergy. Do not use snacks without packaging with information. So one of the problems that was very common today is expired items in emergency bags and first aid kits. You should be no educators should have expired items in their emergency bags or first aid kits. That is a very basic rule. We expect all of our educators to be regularly checking their first aid kits, their emergency bags for anything that is expired, and making sure those are replaced. Um, it doesn't matter whether department officers are visiting or not. You shouldn't have anything expired in your emergency bags or your first aid kits, and that includes your emergency bag in your car, which some of you have. One of our educators had biscuit in the emergency bag where the biscuit wrapper was a clear wrapper with no information on it. So department officers prefer any food items in your emergency bag to have information on the wrapper, such as ingredients. Okay. So if please check your emergency bag and what food you have in them. Most of you have some kind of biscuits in there. If those biscuit packages don't have enough information on them about ingredients, then please find some other biscuits, get some other biscuits to put in there. Finally, safe sleep was an important topic today. Now, the risk assessments which we have provided you are not the department wants more detail in them, so we are going to be revising our risk assessments and providing new copies to everyone. Obviously, that's not something that that's not your mistake. That's something that we need to work on in the office. They check all of the items, such as the mattress and the cot, and they make sure they're all Australian standards. So you might want to double check that, although we're already on top of that. And they ask you about how often you monitor children when they're sleeping, and you make sure you say you monitor them every 10 minutes. If you have any concerns about visits from the department, if you have not been visited, please let us know, and we'll help you to prepare. Thank you very much. Bye bye.